To them young boys in the hood with big dreams of being superstars. Don't let nobody tell you that you can't, but you gotta work super hard. To the older man who feels his life is over cause he wasted it standing on corners. One thing I learned about the streets, it's never too late for a come up. I was told before that I couldn't do it. I remember being told by my own peeps not to rap, and singing in my hood wasn't popular, but I got respect for it cause I was a beast. Facts. If you got a dream, you gotta stay committed, you can get it, but you gotta be a beast, you can't slack for a minute. Remember this, if you remember nothing else, you gotta be relentless.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, misery bots of all ages, back again with another video. This time I want to talk about Steam Deck's next generation of consoles, particularly Steam Deck 2, and what we can expect from this. And is RDNA 4 the generational leap that Steam was talking about? But before we get into this video, if you like the intro music, definitely check out the Adrian Rockstar SoundCloud in the descriptions below. Let's get into the video. Now, Valve is on record stating that they're not going to do another console until they see a generational leap. They want a generational leap for their next Steam Deck, which I don't blame them. You got all these other handhelds like the ROG Ally and the Legion and stuff like that coming out. They're already second iterations. Even though those came out after the Steam Deck, they're already on their second iterations. So you already got like that ROG Ally, you got the ROG Ally X and all that stuff, which is just slightly more powerful and life changes and stuff like that. But Steam and the Steam Deck, they've stayed true to it. Like outside of like a mid-gen refresh, if you even want to call it a mid-gen refresh, they basically stood solid in the fact like they already said like, yo, the Steam Deck is what it is until we see like a generational leap in terms of this technology. You know what I mean? It is what it is until we see a generational leap in technology. And admittedly, especially when you look at like RDNA 3, like that's not really a generational leap. Like it's not really a generational leap. In fact, like RDNA 3 was relatively disappointing. You know what I mean? It was relatively disappointing in the sense that, yeah, it was a little bit more power efficient, but in terms of the gap between RDNA 2 and RDNA 3, it wasn't anything too major or anything like that. But what we're getting out of RDNA 4, this right here, AMD unveils next-gen AMD RDNA 4 architecture, and their 90 series have been relatively impressive. In fact, I haven't seen a lot of the tech reviewers this excited for graphics cards since RDNA 2, since the launch of like the 6900 XT and stuff like that. And it's because like this, they're cooking. AMD is cooking. And for those who don't know, Steam Deck uses an AMD architecture. In fact, it uses RDNA 2. And now you have RDNA 4 with this new architecture, not only giving us a nice boost in performance, but also energy efficiency, as well as a bunch of nice bells and whistles like AI and FSR 4 that are cooking right now. So right here you have the unified AMD RDNA 4 compute units, features up to 64 advanced AMD RDNA 4 compute units, delivering up to 40% higher game performance than the previous generation of RDNA 3 architecture. That's 40%. Now mind you, Steam Deck is rocking RDNA 2, and I already said like the RDNA 3 architecture was a little bit stronger than the RDNA 2 architecture. So if this is given a 40% over the RDNA 3, I mean, when you look at RDNA 2, it's probably like a good 50-60% jump over that architecture. You know what I mean? And that's not even including the bells and whistles that I was talking about with the better ray tracing. And they even mention it, high performance ray tracing with third generation ray tracing accelerations. AMD RDNA 4 is able to deliver over 2 times ray tracing throughput per compute unit when compared to our previous generation. Now they're talking about the previous generation, which is RDNA 3, and they're talking about that is double that performance. Now RDNA 3 ray tracing is technically better than RDNA 2 ray tracing, but again, it wasn't that much it wasn't that much better. It wasn't really that impressive. But what these tech people are talking about with this RDNA 4 generation of ray tracing, they're putting it a lot closer to what Nvidia is doing over there. You know what I mean? Gamers with the latest RDNA Radeon RX 90,000 series are ready for immersive gaming with high quality graphics, including realistic lighting, shadows, and reflections. Supercharged AI acceleration, second gen AI acceleration receives several enhancements, allowing RDNA 4 to efficiently process advanced AI models much faster than what was possible with RDNA 3 through a combination of additional math pipelines for AI calculations, expanding the capabilities of the AI acceleration to support new emerging data types such as FP8, and supporting for interference optimizations techniques such as structured sparsity. These changes deliver up to eight times throughput per AI acceleration. So like the AI on this is a lot better. Mind you, second gen RDNA 2 does not have AI. They did not have AI. In fact, they even mentioned this is the second generation. So RDNA 3, I think, is when they kind of started the AI situation. RDNA 4 improved upon it, and that's what Steam wants with their next Steam Deck. They're gonna want something like this that's gonna give us better performance than RDNA 2, like a lot better performance than RDNA 2. They're gonna want better ray tracing than what you get in RDNA 2, because remember, RDNA 2 is AMD's first shot at ray tracing. RDNA 4 is their third generation of it, so it's massively improved over their first generation of ray tracing. Then you have AI acceleration, which again RDNA 2 doesn't have AI at all, let alone the AI accelerations. Then you have the AMD Fidelity Super Resolution Technology FSR4. Now, if I'm not mistaken, RDNA 2 is basically what they had with FSR2, if I'm not mistaken. They had FSR1 and they had FSR2 on that. I think that's when they actually started their FSR with RDNA2. They didn't have the AI FSR. You know what I mean? They did not have the AI FSR. And I know in certain games you can get FSR3, but from what these tech people are talking about, like Digital Foundry and stuff like that, FSR4 stomps FSR3. Stomps it. Like FSR4 is up there with the newest DLSS. It's up there with it. I ain't gonna say it's better than it, but it from what they're saying, it's up there with it. And that's a massive improvement. That alone is a game changer for a portable device like a Steam Deck 2. That alone, if you can get FSR or some sort of digital reconstruction on level of what the newest DLSS is doing right now, while doing it at a more power efficient scale, man. So AMD new cutting edge ML powered upscaling technology delivers high quality boosted frames under even the most demanding workloads such as 4K gaming with maximum ray tracing settings, and will be supported in over 30 games at launch. Now, obviously that's at launch. They're gonna move on and add more games to it, especially when it comes to that AI base. If I'm not mistaken, most of the games that are RDNA or FSR3 are going to be getting converted over to FSR4 and getting that good FSR4 AI treatment. You know what I mean? And yeah, the new Steam Deck could definitely use it. Now, mind you, a new Steam Deck 2, is not going to be pumping out 4K. It's not going to be pumping out. You're not even going to get 1440p. But it won't surprise me with the Steam Deck 1 having an 800p screen, as well as a 90 hertz refresh rate. It won't surprise me if the next Steam Deck has like a 1080p 120 screen. Granted, it'll probably be LCD. No cap. It's probably going to be an LCD, but it's probably going to be the same screen similar to that of the Switch 2. The difference is the Steam Deck 2 will be much more powerful than the Switch 2. So it'll definitely take advantage of that 1080p screen as well as the 120 hertz. And when you dock it, it's going to take advantage of whatever your TV is pumping out too, such as HDR and stuff of that nature. Ready for next gen displays. I mean, Yes, that's to be expected. Super resolution FSR upgrade. So, like, hold on. What they talking about the FSR real quick? What are they talking about the FSR? These are just kind of like the stats and stuff, like what breaks down. They are about to launch the 9060 XT, I believe, the 9060 series soon. If I'm not mistaken, it drops next week. So they are going down in terms of like uh, pricing and even performance and stuff like that. But as they continue to go down, they continue to get closer to what a Steam Deck 2 level of performance would be. Because obviously a Steam Deck 2 is not going to be putting out 9060 performance or anything like that. Nah, it'll probably put out something more equivalent to like 9030 or 9040 performance. You know what I mean? It's going to get to that point. And obviously Steam and Valve are going to need time to like customize that CPU or APU that they plan on putting. And the dope thing, if they were to do something like that, is would they be able to do like an APU with like 3D cache on it? Oh my god, that would drastically improve performance with some sort of APU with 3D cache on it. Just think of something like what would be like the equivalent of like a 9050, right? A 9050 Ti or XT or a 9040 XT, right? With some sort of 3D cache CPU. Man, that performance when you have like this FSR with the FSR as well and the machine learning, man, you're gonna be able to get like 1080p 60 frames per seconds on a lot of the newer games, I would say. Available exclusively on AMD Radeon RX 9000 series. So FSR is actually exclusive to RDNA 4. It's exclusive to RDNA 4. Now, for all we know, Steam, Valve may be like, yo, alright, you guys are just getting into it with the AI joint with this RDNA 4. They might wait for RDNA 5. If that's the case, we ain't seeing another Steam Deck for like another 5-6 years. But something tells me that they're gonna take this right here. They're gonna wait 2-3 years. They're gonna work with AMD. They're gonna try to get some sort of custom APU using this technology, because this is really good technology. This is actually what I would consider like a generational leap technology, especially over that of the Steam Deck and that of even RDNA 2. And they're going to get the power. They're going to get it to where the power wattage is not 220 watts. It's going to be putting out maybe 25 watts, 25 watts. You know what I mean? And they're going to get it. And man, this with the AI joint and the FSR4, that's the game changer right there. That is definitely the game changer. As well as the better ray tracing performance and the CPU and the compute units being able to put out higher performance at a just lower wattage. That's the game changer right there. That's the generational leap that Valve has been talking about. But if you don't believe me, let me know in the comments below. What do you think is the generational leap? Do you think they're gonna wait till RDNA 5 to hit us with that Steam Deck 2? Because I don't think they're going to use RDNA 3. RDNA 3 was trash. It's not. It's not. It's not the generational leap that they would want. This right here, RDNA 4 is definitely the generational leap I can see Valve using. But again, they're just dropping the 9060 XT. It's going to be another year or two before they even drop some sort of card or even have something that would be within the power of what would be a Steam Deck 2. So like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Remember, your life is a fantasy. Let me know in the comments below, what do you think of a Steam Deck 2 and what kind of RDNA will it be using? Will it use RDNA 4? Will it use RDNA 5? Will it use RDNA 6? Let me know.
To them young boys in the hood with big dreams of being superstars. Don't let nobody tell you that you can't, but you gotta work super hard. To the older man who feels his life is over cause he wasted it standing on corners. One thing I learned about the streets, it's never too late for a come up. I was told before that I couldn't do it. I remember being told by my own peeps not to rap, and singing in my hood wasn't popular, but I got respect for it cause I was a beast. Facts. If you got a dream, you gotta stay committed, you can get it, but you gotta be a beast, you can't slack for a minute. Remember this, if you don't remember nothing else, you gotta be relentless.